There was a lot of suspicious behavior from the doctors, nurses, and staff when I got there. Um, I could tell you this, it was still about Kenneth Cooper at the radio station for 97.9 to be, it's just like I just talked about in my other video, that as soon as second I walked out the door, the Chinese guy that looks like my sister that died many years ago, he's a transgender, male to female, female to male. And so when I walk out the door, he opens the door and then drops his shoes. It sounds like a gunshot. So it's a psychological thing and just poison. It's just, let's see who's going to get the benefit most out of it and just show that. And I really don't know what to think, There's so much, there's so much chaos in the world that I lived in, and trying to contact, seeing my sister who I've never known, to, why even I would even come in contact with my sister at all, unless something bad happened. Making me pass gas. Why I would even come in contact with my sister at all. And, I'd see her at the governor's office, and I got, a sister that is sitting at a front desk. I see her at a grocery store. I see her, and I have no idea at the time who this person is. I even walk into a homeless shelter after being homeless for so many years, and I'm still homeless because I'm living at the homeless shelter in Lawrence, Kansas, and I see her there. And for 6 months I'm living there, 5 months, 5 to 7 months I'm living there, and not one time do I ever know this person is. That tells you the authenticity of, I'm aware that I even had a sister. And I really don't know what to think, because my girlfriend's Marco's girlfriend is named Michaela. I highly doubt that of all the things that are going on, why would my brother's dating a transgender girl who is by the name of Michaela? I'm not trying to bash the situation. It's always a very sad, depressing, scary situation. But what are the odds of something like that happening unless there was some sort of background? I'm not saying it couldn't, but that, you just come across somebody as a transgender that is, is just happens to be by the name of Michaela, and then spending the night over at my mother's and all this other stuff. I'm like, I really don't know what to really kind of make of that circumstance. The staff are kind of behaving really suspicious I find it to be very suspicious. There's too many, look, I just heard him clankle a bunch of dishes in the sink, and I just felt the vibrations like they electrocuted me to taser me. Now, my brother just got shot, and this black guy is driving my biological father's car. I know in 100 million years that this man, his biological father of mine that died a long time ago, is what my mother told me, or my mother's sister told me. He's no longer alive. Would probably not like and say, thank you for driving my car that I picked up my only son, and I was crying in the car, and I was crying when I picked up, and I also found driving that car when I found out my daughter was dead. Because he's doing this for Black Power and the unit for Barack Obama. Someone sent him here, someone is spending all the money in the world, and there's nothing that can be resolved. All I know is that that's not an accident. And he probably wouldn't like that very much. Michaela would probably not like that either. And him, since I've been here, including some of these other individuals that have lived here, have done nothing but taunt this dead little girl that hasn't had a proper burial. And they're trying to make it for themselves, trying to protect Kenneth Cooper. And putting all the leverage on Barack Obama, because remember, this is for blacks, pro-black. So I thought it was important for him at least to say something about this. It's always a very scary situation. I still find it very suspicious. I looked at these wounds, and they kind of look fake. I had question to believe, when somebody gets shot like that, I'm not particularly sure that it would have been behaving, everyone would have been behaving like that. I really believe my mother would have been crying, and my mother would have been terrified. I know how my mother would have been. My mother would have not wanted this black guy taunting my biological father, and then other people claiming he's a child molester because he had sex with my mother when she was like 13 or 14 or 15, whatever age she was. And then he's just protecting because he's just for the unit of pro-black. And my mother would not like that. My mother would not like the fact that I was covered in blood and had a murder attempt myself, and he's just there to clean up. And it's for all the negative, dark, bad reasons. It's not for nothing good. I'm not in control of the circumstances. All I can do is just look away and give away whatever they want. I can't do anything about it. The police department won't get involved. The police department not questioned me whenever I was at the hospital. They were gone already before I got me and my mother's sisters. Before my mother's sister, identical triplet, was already there. And I got some other news too. My mother was supposed to be moving out of her apartment because they were going to paint her apartment, and they were going to move her over to a different apartment. And now they said that they're moving a whole bunch of people migrating to a different area. And and they changed it to government apartments. So those are going to be government apartments for people to move in, I guess, which is that's what I was told. But a lot of suspicious and a lot of uncertainty about kind of the circumstances. But like I said, I had my own reasons to what could have happened and a number of things that did happen. And all they're doing is just trying to get away with it, in my opinion. There's so many homosexuals and transgenders, they're all working in units. They just want to get away with disposing my life. And, the murder attempt that was placed on me, being kicked at full force in the throat, face, punched in the back of the head, being kicked in the face, having my pants pulled down so I can get raped at a cemetery. That's always very scary. I don't understand how any psychological reason why a president or anyone in human existence could say, yeah, this is what we need to do to Hector to fix things. Make sure you punt him as hard as you can and fracture his ribs. Make sure you punt him in the throat, in the face, and punch him in the back of the head, which is very, very dangerous because you can get a lot of brain damage from that. Many people have. And there's no protection to actually protect the back surface of the brain. It's just at a cemetery, and I had no money, no homeless. I was covered in blood, showed up to my mother's front doorstep. And here this guy is at full force for Barack Obama and the murder attempt to protect his own skin for pro-black. And I don't like the racism. I don't like the fact because there was these 3 black guys that did this. I don't know what race the guy was that shot my brother. I just know that anywhere I go, they're all in full force for Kenneth, and they see who can we feel sorry for and give the trophies and give the forgiveness to. And now we executed Hector. Now we're just going to jump on this, and we're going to do it for Barack and the president, Barack Obama. This is for Black Power. We know how to get away with it and do the exchanges, and we'll see who wins the fight. And they are. They're going to. They will execute on everything because there's no one with some serious enforcement to execute any justice on this. It kind of makes my life scary, afraid that something like this could have happened to me. Anything could have happened, but my brother's very young, his partner is very young, his girlfriend's very young, and he has a kid. And all I can do is give the best advice that I can. And that's all I can do is give the best advice and give support. I'm not in any circumstance to really do very much other than just pretty much that and help where I can. I'm trying to fetch out my own survival as well. That goes to some of the details.